Well, hello, I'm Terry, and I'm here to help you get out of indecision and into your intuition. And what I wanted to talk to you today about was what it might be like, or how would you know if you're having a paranormal or a psychic experience for the first time. I can tell you this much. The first time I had a medium mystic experience, I knew. It was dramatic. I was hyperventilating. There may have been some crying and major, and I'm talking major automatic writing. So that was my first medium mystic experience. My first psychic experience, I don't quite remember the first one because I grew up psychic. My sisters are psychic, my mom is psychic, so that was one of the things in our family. It was always really open, and so there was always psychism in the family. But what I can remember, I believe I was around the age of 7. I think it was 7. I remember one night being woken up with the covers kind of being pulled off of me, kind of tugged, and I sat up and I had a mirror, like a mirror closet that was directly across from my bed. I sat up and I saw a reflection in the mirror of myself with a wolf's head. I got really scared, as any other 7-year-old would do, and I immediately laid back down and pulled the covers off of my head. Not off, but over my head. That was the first time I remember having any type of paranormal or psychic experience. For me, it was really scary. And though my mom is highly intuitive, she wasn't raised, well, she was, the whole family was raised to be open towards psychism and all this fun mysticism and stuff, but she didn't know what to do necessarily. So I never told anybody. I remember not telling anybody because I was scared and I thought, oh my God, maybe I'm making this up, blah, 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 blah. Just like you may be doing if you may be having a spiritual experience of some sort. So what might some signs be that you're having some sort of experience? Well, first and foremost, maybe you are seeing things with your eyes, right? Maybe your clairvoyance is acting up. Maybe you're seeing a spirit and they look just like they would as if you were looking at me using your physical human eye. That's always something that can be happening. You might even hear what's called a disembodied voice, where you're using your clairaudience. This happens to me a lot, where I hear somebody call my name and I turn and I look and I go, huh? And nobody's there. So when you can hear a frequency of what sounds like a human being talking to you and there's nobody there, that's called a disembodied voice. So that might be something. Perhaps you had a premonition, which is a dream that became literal foreshadowing for fortune telling that actually came true. That's called a premonition. So there are so many things. This was one of my favorite things. And when I say my favorite things, I'm being very facetious and sarcastic. When I worked in an office, a lot of the electronics would not work for me. The computer would go down, the printer would go down, the photocopier, the scanner, all of that. I was the one in the office that usually had the most issues. Mercury retrograde or not. And that's because I had a high enough electromagnetic field that would make the electromagnetic fields of these electrical appliances go wonky. So maybe every time, anytime, or sometimes you're near some sort of electrical apparatus, it goes on the fritz, or it turns on and off, or maybe the channels change all by themselves, like on a radio station. It wouldn't be a channel. It'd be, well, yeah, I guess it could be a channel. So that's also a sign you might be having a spiritual or psychic or paranormal experience. Of course, if you're seeing objects flying through the air, that's very paranormal, I would say. The odds of that happening are so low, but maybe you can move things with your mind. That's called telekinesis. That's something I used to try and do. I remember, I think I was in the 5th grade, staring at earrings. I had these like dangling earrings. I would stare at them in the mirror, just hoping I could make them move, Nope, didn't quite happen, unfortunately. But I'm not giving up. I mean, maybe I can just move stuff with my mind one day. Just because you don't have these gifts and talents right now doesn't mean they won't develop. My mediumship skills didn't develop till I was almost 40. So there you go. Some other signs. Let's see. God, I had so many when I started this video, and now all of a sudden I'm like, bleh. I think it's because I'm outside in the fresh sunshine. Mama's getting vitamin D. Well, anyways, that's just a few things here that I wanted to share with you. If you're having any other, if you want to call them symptoms, I wouldn't necessarily call them symptoms, but experiences, I'd love to hear about them. I'd love to be able to learn more about what your personal experience has been. And if you haven't had one yet and you want one, you never know, maybe you will get one. So just keep an open mind. That's the whole thing about all of this esoteric metaphysics work. Just keep an open mind, because you never ever know what's going to happen. Well, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you were able to get some information from it. And if you'd like to get yourself out of indecision and develop your intuition, go ahead and check me out at terryhuberman.com and stay connected. Stay connected to your family and friends. Stay connected to yourself. Stay connected to me. And I'll see ya on the flip side.